It took everyone by surprise, the lightning speed of the Syrian rebel advance and end to 5 decades of Assad rule, one of the biggest turning points for the Middle East in generations. How did the rebels pull off their offensive? Andre Bank of the Giga Institute for Middle East Studies says President Bashar al-Assad, who has fled to Moscow, was on the back foot.
I didn't expect that it would only take 10 days from, them leaving Idlib and then arriving in Damascus, but that there was a strong regime weakness and that there was a strong weakness of Assad supporters. We could clearly see this.
Analysts say the weakness of Assad's regime was the deciding factor. Assad's military allies, Russia and Iran, were distracted by wars elsewhere and Moscow was losing interest. Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah, which helped government forces, was severely damaged by an Israeli offensive. Sources familiar with Hezbollah deployments said it withdrew many of its elite fighters from Syria over the past year, giving rebels a valuable opportunity. "We just wanted a fair fight," a Syrian opposition source said. Meanwhile, Assad's army was on its knees. A regime source told Reuters corruption and looting left tanks and planes with no fuel, a sign of how hollowed out Assad's state had become. Army morale had severely eroded, the source said. Hayed of London's Chatham House says the support of armed loyalist groups may have collapsed.
Different reports that indicate that there has been some sort of contact between at least the main coalition of armed groups led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham that started the offensive and led to the collapse of the regime, and the current government of regime inside Damascus. And there are even reports that there were sort of instructions to armed groups inside Damascus and fighters to drop their weapons and not fight back, which maybe explains why Damascus fell quite quickly despite the presence of loyalists.
Turkey, which struck a deal with Russia in 2020 to de-escalate fighting in northwestern Syria, has long backed Syria's opposition. But it was against a major rebel offensive, fearing it would send more refugees its way. The rebels felt that changed earlier this year, the Syrian opposition leader and a diplomat from the region told Reuters. Assad had rebuffed repeated overtures from Ankara, aimed at finding a political solution to Syria's military stalemate. Turkey's stance towards Assad was hardening, so the rebels communicated their plans for an offensive, the sources said. They felt they received tacit approval, though Turkish officials have denied they gave them a green light. Turkey now appears to be Syria's most powerful external player, with troops on the ground and access to the rebel leaders.